Hi, it's Bianca Williams, therapist, coach, mom, and wife, and I am here to deliver some new self care tips. Today, I want to talk about something that I don't know, it kind of just came up on me. And so I just wanted to share this for a few minutes. So, basically, what I've been thinking about is how when you're a child, you are taught what's right and what's wrong, and you are given messages that there's a hero and there's a villain, there's an antagonist, which is, the villain, and there's a protagonist, which is usually the hero. And it was pretty clear, like, when somebody is trying to hurt somebody or doing something wrong, they're, obviously the villain. However, as I've gotten older, I found myself connecting with the villain in certain stories. And what I mean is, maybe I understood why they were upset, what they were trying to do. I felt like maybe part of their mission was necessary. And so the one that resonates with me the most right now is the movie The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. And I haven't seen it in a while, so my summary is probably going to be a little fuzzy, but also that's a good thing because if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. And I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but basically the gist of it was that it was clear that at some point in the movie that he struggled with childhood trauma, and he leaned on certain forms of support to keep him grounded, to keep him in some way functioning in life. And when he felt like that people disappointed him, that support wasn't there, he had a traumatic event in which he lost a really really foundational form of support. And then there was people in positions of power that also affected him negatively, and by positions of power I mean just as from ranging from people that were just stronger than him, then to people that were in places of employment with authority, political figures, people with money, etc. So these people are making decisions in ways that are negatively impacting him. And one day he just feels this need to get back at everybody who's considered in his mind the bad guy or against him. Now, while I don't necessarily endorse violence or anything like that, that's not what I'm saying. When I say I align with him, I just align with the idea of how people who experience trauma can sometimes suffer, and people around them don't realize it, and people do make decisions directly in opposition of support. And so one thing I wanted to speak about was just how childhood trauma can affect you, because I haven't been super, I guess, quiet about this. I've experienced some childhood trauma, and I've worked with many people who've experienced that as well. And so I wanted to talk to you about two things that I noticed that happens. It's many things, first of all, that can come up for you if you've experienced childhood trauma. But the two things that I'm going to talk to you about today, one of them is going to be false alarms. And so false alarms is basically where your perception of a threat or danger is heightened and perceived very often, but may not always be accurate. And this is usually something that affects you emotionally, causes you to have a shift in your emotional state where you feel upset, you feel down, you feel embarrassed, all of these negative feelings, and then may even cause you to have emotional reactions, big emotional reactions, sometimes just being withdrawn or hostile towards people. And so, an example of that could be, let's say you're going to work and you have a coworker who's generally sociable, and she comes to check on you and she says, "Hey, you look tired today." And she's saying this out of a place of concern. But in your mind, you're instantly processing this as a negative thing. You're wondering, why would she say that? That means I look bad. That means other people obviously think I look bad. And now my day is affected. Like, why would she come in here and give me this negative news? And what is she trying to say? Right? Like, so this is running through your mind, which is affecting your mood. And this is in the category of false alarms again. So if you struggle with sometimes getting feedback and sometimes perceiving that feedback is often negative, even when maybe it wasn't, you may have to actively work at positive self-talk, like assuring yourself that you are okay and that maybe what you are thinking is not as bad as what you're thinking. And even clarifying, sometimes it's okay to clarify, to just ask them, what did they mean by that? And genuinely seek to understand and want to see this in another way. So that's something you could do with that. But false alarms is definitely one of them. And the other one that I wanted to hit on today is asking for help. Sometimes when you experience childhood trauma, you are very used to disappointments, whether that is situations falling through, turning out bad, or people, right? People not doing the right thing when it comes to you, mishandling you, just treating you wrong. And so you you get in this place to where you default to thinking that all situations will end bad. You will not receive the support you need from individuals. You will often be disappointed. And so you don't ask for help. And in situations to where with a little communication and willingness to get help, it can be very magnified in a negative way, because now you're dealing with the magnitude of a situation that maybe you cannot handle on your own, or it feels very overwhelming to you in that moment of feeling like I have to deal with this on my own. And so an example of that could be um, you have car trouble. Let's say maybe you have a flat tire and you need to get home, you're tired, maybe you got to pick up your child, and you are on the side of the road. You've called your car service or the insurance, and they are going to send someone out, but it's going to take a little time. And you, maybe it's raining, like I'm just creating scenarios to say that this situation is not ideal to just be stuck in, but you completely eliminate problem solving in the sense of like the support you have around you and asking for help, because you don't trust that you'll get that help. And so it's really this baseline of, oh, I have to figure this out on my own all the time. And now, yeah, you may be stuck in the rain. You have to wait. You almost pick up your child too late. You're worrying. Your day is just a lot different than you planned for it to be. And it feels horrible. Maybe your mood is suffering, and you're reacting in it could be, again, you're reacting in a hostile way, very reactive. And so just being aware of, maybe there was an alternative solution. You could call someone that you work with, call a friend, and explain what's going on. Yes, it's going to set them out of their way, but when you ask for help, usually that's it, and it's not a frequent thing, and people may be willing to help. And you just never know, right? Like, it's one of those things where you don't know unless you ask. And so being willing to ask for help and not feeling like you have to always handle it on your own is the general consensus of that form of trauma experiences and how it shows up for people in their adult life. And so there are many more forms of how childhood trauma can affect you in your adult life, but I wanted to share those two. Of course, as people work with me, we get a lot deeper in what that looks like and how to navigate that space. But it comes up a lot more often than people realize. And a lot of times people don't realize what it is. They don't know that these actions, these feelings, these negative outbursts are not cool. I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't know where it comes from. And through our work, we find out there's probably some childhood stuff going on there. And so anyway, I wanted to just offer a little insight about some self-growth and just understanding yourself in some ways to consider looking at situations a little differently. But I hope that was helpful. Again, Bianca Williams, therapist, coach, mom, and wife. Continue to listen to my podcast. Follow me on social media. I am here. Stay tuned to anything that's coming up that I am releasing. Um, Definitely want to make sure that I'm always connecting with you guys, and I will be dropping more self-growth tips in the future. Stay tuned.